2017 is in the books, and it turned out to be a great year in professional wrestling. I'm going to give you my top 10 favorite matches of the year. So here we go.
Number 10, Roman Reigns versus Elias for the Intercontinental Championship on Raw, November 27th.
It's probably not on many people's top 10 list for this year, but this match was just really enjoyable for me. From the standpoint, I was not expecting this match. Roman, I'm a big fan of. Elias, I am a huge fan of. So when they announced this match, I was like, oh, right, I get to see some Elias. But unfortunately, it's probably going to be a little 5-minute. He gets a few things in, but Roman just dominates. Superman punch, spear, takes it home. What we got was a near 15-minute, really good wrestling match. In a couple of moments, I thought that Elias might actually win that night. I was kind of looking around going, are they going to put the IC strap on Elias tonight? Which I would have been perfectly happy with, but I just wouldn't have expected it. And I think this match really is what has led to this little bit of a push that Elias is getting here recently, because he just showed what a really good in-ring performer he can be. And, I know a lot of people don't like Roman, but I think he's a really good in-ring worker, and is getting better by the day. So, not a great match, but a really good match on Monday Night Raw when probably no one was expecting anything out of these two guys.
Number 9, the Young Bucks versus Matt Sydal and Ricochet versus Penta El Zero M and Rey Fenix for the PWG Tag Team titles at Nice Guys Don't Play Rock and Roll on March 18th.
An air traffic controller's dream come true. This is the kind of match that Pro Wrestling Guerrilla loves to put on, and that old school wrestling fans love to hate PWG for putting on. When you saw the match on paper, you knew it was going to be a high-flying affair full of double teams and triple teams and just all kinds of high-flying action. When I got to see the highlights on YouTube before I got to see the full match, I was just blown away. And I was like, I can't wait to see the entire match, to see what kind of story they put together. These highlights are almost a story in and of themselves, but throw in some transitions and it's going to be amazing. And it was. Just PWG loves to put on these kind of matches. I love them for it, and I hope they keep on doing it.
Number 8, War Machine versus Ricochet and Angelico for the WCPW Tag Team titles at Loaded on August 25th.
A clash of styles match, if ever there was one. The power and strength and teamwork of War Machine against a team that was kind of thrown together in Angelico and Ricochet, and their high flying and their speed. And they just worked so well together. Hansen works with these kind of guys so well, because he's, for a large man, he is quite agile. And so the guys, throw a Hurricane Rana or drop kicks or things, Hansen can sell them, make them look really good. And smaller guys like that, Rowe can just throw around and just really a fun, enjoyable David and Goliath type of match. Goliath won in this case, but David had a really good showing. And this is one of those matches that just made, What Culture and now Defiant Wrestling. For me, it's must-watch TV on a Friday afternoon after I get off work. I have to watch Loaded or now Defiant, because you get matches like this. every week.
Number 7, Kenny King versus Kushida for the ROH World Television title at Death Before Dishonor on September 22nd.
The build to this was not your prototypical heel versus face build. It was just Kenny King had never been the TV champion. He was going after it in his hometown against a very likable champ, Kushida. So it was very face versus face. They'd had a match on ROH TV that got broken up by Bullet Club, and that match was getting very good. So you knew at Death Before Dishonor they were going to tear the roof off that joint, and they did. King, of course, being the hometown boy, he had that support from the crowd. But it's not because they hated Kushida. Kushida, like I said, very likable, very affable champ. So, and just typical Ring of Honor match. The handshake at the beginning and the end really did hold, honor and respect. And a crowd that just loved to see Kenny King get a title after a wonderful match where either one of those guys winning would have, we as fans were the true winners after that match. It was just so great. And it was nice to see Kenny win the belt and bring his daughter in the ring and that whole deal, in his hometown. Just a really neat, feel-good story. And just sometimes it's really nice to have that as a fan.
Number 6, John Cena versus AJ Styles for the WWE Championship at the Royal Rumble on January 29th.
In what a lot of people are calling the best WWE match of the year, Big Match John and the Phenomenal One put on a clinic at Royal Rumble. AJ can bring a match out of anyone, and you put someone as good as John Cena in the ring with him, and every time they faced has been just better than the last, gotten better and better and better. And at the Rumble, they just knocked it out of the park, had another incredible match. And this feud has given us some of the best wrestling we've seen in the WWE in years. And I'm so happy that AJ came to the WWE, and they gave him an opportunity to work with John, who always says the guy in the knock is the guy who isn't a wrestler per se. He's a sports entertainer, and really showed that he could hang with AJ. AJ wasn't carrying him in those matches at all. He was working with another great performer to put on a great match.
Number 5, Killshot versus Dante Foxx in a Hell of War match at Lucha Underground on June the 25th.
I know a lot of wrestling fans, especially smarks on the internet, don't really like Lucha Underground. They make fun of the vignettes. They're over the top. They're cheesy. That's some of the knocks on the show. I personally like the entirety of the show. I think the vignettes really serve to tell the story that they want to tell. And the in-ring work is fabulous. For those who have been saying, oh, they miss the Attitude Era, they miss ECW, well, you should have been watching the Hell of War match. Basically a 3 stages of hell match. Killshot and Dante Foxx put on a violent clinic. They put each other through glass, through tables. The very last fall was an ambulance match. And it just was an incredible finish to a feud that had started the very end of last season. Had culminated through this entire third season of Lucha Underground. And just great storytelling in a very violent manner. So if you're missing ECW and you miss the Attitude Era, then you should have checked out this match because it had everything you say you've been missing as a wrestling fan.
Number 4, Ricochet versus Keith Lee at WCPW's Pro Wrestling World Cup USA qualifying round on July the 21st.
Another David Goliath match whose story is told just by those two guys standing in the ring side by side. Keith Lee's immense size with Ricochet kind of being a smaller guy. It just tells half the story there. And their styles mesh so well. Keith is incredibly agile for a man his size. So Ricochet's offense, he sells it so good. And Ricochet is incredibly strong. It's a facet of his game that's not really touted that much. But in this match, he tried to lift Keith a couple of times until at one point Keith just come at him in the corner and Ricochet caught him and walks out, slammed him. Crowd went nuts. Just incredible storytelling. I know a lot of people say this is not the best match in the World Cup, but for my money, it was. It is by far my favorite match of those 65 matches we got from WCPW in that tournament.
Number 3, Pete Dunn versus Tyler Bate for the WWE United Kingdom Championship at NXT TakeOver Chicago on May the 20th.
We're all still anxiously awaiting the WWE Network exclusive UK show that we were promised during the UK tournament. But that tournament gave us some great matches, and then we got this. Tyler Bate's defense against Pete Dunne at NXT TakeOver Chicago. One of the best matches of the year, period. The UK style is something the internet thankfully has allowed us in the States to see a lot of. You can watch Progress and Insane Championship Wrestling and What Culture and now Defiant Wrestling, and get to see all those guys. You know, I saw Pete Dunne and Tyler Bate and Wolfgang and Trent Seven and all those guys. I saw some of their work before the UK tournament, so I was really excited about the tournament. And I was really excited about this match. These two have put on some great matches this year. The finals at the tournament. This match, which was a delight to watch. Hard-hitting. The bruiserweight Pete Dunne is a sight to behold. He makes me worried about the entire cruiserweight division. You know, taking them away from being able to fight guys above the 205 weight limit. It's fun to he can wrestle with anybody, and him being on the main roster, he'd be stuck wrestling the 205 guys. And he'd have great matches like he did with Tyler Bate. But he wouldn't be able to have a match with anybody. And he can. And Tyler Bate is the same way. And it's incredible that Tyler Bate is as talented as he is at his age. If he can stay healthy, the sky's the limit for that guy. He is going to be a phenomenal worker in the next decade. So just wanting to see more of these guys. I hope the UK show, we get some news about that so we can see more of these guys work in the future.
Number 2, Kushida versus Will Osprey at NJPW's Best of the Super Juniors Finals on June the 3rd.
The story going into this final was amazing. Will Osprey trying to recapture the Super Juniors title again, back-to-back years. Kushida, who'd had an amazing run during that tournament, and the whole year, in fact. Just set up for a great match. A lot of people had worried that it might be another Ricochet Osprey match from last year, which got a lot of flack for being too choreographed, didn't look like a fight, things of that nature. This definitely looked like a fight. Lots of really stiff slams, a couple of spots on the apron that just looked incredibly ugly. In the fact that you were worried about the guy. He's like, oh my gosh, Osprey may be hurt. Kushida may be hurt. These guys had just put on a clinic of the merging of strong style and high flying that the Super Juniors can bring. So if you haven't seen the match, go check it out. It's a beauty to behold. Now, before we get to our number one pick, I'm going to hit you with some honorable mentions.
Aleister Black versus Velveteen Dream at NXT War Games on November 18th. Joe Hendry versus Martin Kirby versus Marty Scurll for the Defiant World title at #WeAreDefiant on December the 4th. Kenny Omega versus Tomohiro Ishii at NJPW's G1 Special in USA on July the 2nd. Number 1, Kazuchika Okada versus Kenny Omega, the trilogy.
When I was putting this list together, I knew these three matches were going to be at the top of the list. And I made the decision, instead of making them 1, 2, and 3, to put them all together as a tie at first place, so I could talk about more matches, basically. We all knew the match at Wrestle Kingdom was going to be good. We just didn't know how good. I didn't get to watch it live, so I heard the rumblings on the internet, heard about Meltzer giving it a 6-star, which immediately made me want to see it. So I hunted it down, hunted the show down, and at the end of that match, I was like, wow, it deserved the 6 stars. It is a great, great match. And we all knew they were going to book, the follow-up. And we also knew, how can they top it? And it seemed like Okada and Omega decided, oh, you don't think we can top this? We're going to top it. We're going to go Broadway, and we're going to have 60 minutes of the best wrestling match you've ever seen. Meltzer gave it a 6.25 star. And then their match at the G1 Climax was, any other year would be a match of the year, except this year, when they had 2 matches that surpassed that. So just 3 of the best matches ever, not just in 2017, but ever, happened between these 2 guys. And it made Omega a star. The argument can be made, it prompted him to get that U.S. title, and elevated him to where Jericho and him are going to be facing at Wrestle Kingdom. Okada has had a record-setting title reign, longest reign in history. At Wrestle Kingdom, he will have the most combined days as IWGP champ. So these 3 matches really just solidified those 2 as megastars in a year where there were just great matches all around. So there you have it, my favorite matches from 2017. Tell me what your favorite matches were in the comments section below. Don't forget to give this video the old thumbs up, subscribe to the channel. If you'll like us, go over to facebook.com/the Family One Kickout. Like the page over there. You can follow me on Twitter at Festus74. I'll be live tweeting this Thursday during Wrestle Kingdom. So if you're up early in my neck of the woods, check me out on Twitter to see my thoughts, and we'll share thoughts on the biggest show in New Japan's year. And don't forget to tune in next week when I'll have another year-end special. I'm going to do a year-end award show, my favorite wrestler, my favorite tag teams of this year, a whole host of other favorites from this year. So please check that out. And just remember, till next time, when life has you pinned, always kick out.